y'all, welcome back to the channel. Back with another spoiler for Lorwyn. Hope you guys enjoyed the last one. Looking forward to seeing what the feedback will be. I am just kind of recording these in succession, so at the time of this recording I haven't even released the first one, but figured I would get these all out so that I can move on with my week. Anyway, what is this next card all about? Let's take a look at it. So we got Kolfiner's Plans. I think that's how you say it. I don't know. Support card, enchantment, 14 mana, mono black. What does it do? When this support enters the board, exile the top 7 cards from your library. So that's already pretty interesting. We're sending things straight to the exile instead of the graveyard. So definitely makes it an interesting Aminatu card, especially if you're using something like Redress Fate, which is going to bring a bunch of these into play from your exile, hopefully. So you're just going to be stacking cards upon cards into your exile with every ETB. When you draw a card, move that card to your graveyard. So that's really interesting. So we're both mass exiling, but we are going to be continuously milling our library as well. That will make things tricky, and we will definitely have to build around it to really maximize the amount of cards we get to use during our turn, especially if we put this into play early. But basically, so when you draw a card, you move that card to your graveyard. Means never goes to your hand. It goes straight to your graveyard. Pretty interesting already. But what is the effect that we get just from using the card? At the end of your turn, pick one of the first 4 different cards from your exile. Fetch that card. It gains full mana. So that is also pretty interesting. If we put some draw into our deck, that means we're going to be putting a lot of different things into our graveyard. So there are a lot of things we need to do to make sure that our graveyard gets exiled. It's going to be a tricky card to build around. It seems pretty fun. We're going to be first exiling cards from our library when we put this into play. So one of those 7 cards we're going to be able to grab. I'm going to imagine it can be spells too. So that could be kind of interesting. What I'm thinking we can do maybe with Aminatu is use something like Cease and exile our graveyard, and then just pull things out of it with Aminatu, or we can just keep things around and then hopefully grab a Redress Fate. I'm wondering if we're going to get cards that put Buried onto our cards in our grave, because it's going to be tricky to play things when this card is into play, especially spells that aren't easy to cheat out. We're going to have to figure out ways to fetch things into our hand rather than draw into them if we want to play that way. So there are a lot of really interesting things that we can do with this card. It seems pretty high level in terms of understanding the game, understanding mechanics and all that. So this will be a fun one for me to mess around with and really figure out what is the optimal way to play this card. And definitely a type of card that I like to get into and really figure out. So I'm happy that they let me spoil this one. It's definitely not going to be for the noobs, but if you do pull it and you're kind of a seasoned vet who really likes to play around with exile and graveyard and all that, I bet you can think of some cool things about it to do with it. You know, already got the gears in your head turning as far as ways to combo with it. I gave you some of my first impressions, my first thoughts as to where I would start to brew with it. But yeah, let me know. There's probably a lot of different things that I could think about later that aren't really coming to mind right now. Could be an interesting legacy card where you get like graveyard gems and all that, and cards with Buried. There are a lot more cards with Buried in earlier sets, so that might be interesting. You know, mystical teachings can maybe go into your graveyard, and then you find ways to power that up as well. So that could be really cool. I don't know. there's a lot of things, and I'm just kind of thinking out loud here and starting to ramble a bit. But yeah, for those of you who are really into deck brewing, I'd love to hear what you guys come up with. So yeah, if you have some ideas that I haven't yet spit out, let me know. And I'm looking forward to this new set. I think it's going to be really neat. I've seen some of the other cards that have been spoiled for the content creators. And yeah, I'm really thinking that this will be a nice breath of fresh air for the game. This new set, that is. All right. Well, that does it for this one. So I'll see you when the set drops, and I'll be opening packs and trying out the new cards. Hope to see you there.